After historians look at where a source comes from, understand its context, and read it closely, they do one more important thing: corroborate. Corroborating means comparing different sources to see what they have in common and where they disagree. It also means finding more sources to help prove or challenge what you've learned. Historians don't just rely on one source. Instead, they build their ideas by connecting many different sources together. The first question to ask when corroborating is, what did I learn from this source? Every source has something valuable to say, but it also has limits. That's why it's important to be a healthy skeptic. Ask yourself how it helps you understand the topic and where it might be missing something. Next, ask yourself, how does this source compare to others I've read? Does it tell a similar story, or does it say something different? When sources say the same thing, it might mean that the information is strong or trustworthy, but be careful. Sometimes sources agree just because they come from people with the same background or beliefs. That's why it's important to know who created the source and why. Sometimes sources disagree, and that's okay. People have different experiences, beliefs, and reasons for telling their stories. Most of the time, sources will have things that match and things that don't. That's what makes history interesting. Let's look at an example. Imagine a historian is learning about the 15th Amendment, which gave voting rights to black men after slavery ended. Specifically, they want to learn about its effects on the women's suffrage movement, where women fought for the right to vote. They might read the writings of both black and white women who were involved in this fight. Black leaders like Frances Ellen Watkins Harper often supported the 15th Amendment because it gave their fathers, brothers, and husbands the right to vote. But some white suffragists, like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, didn't support the amendment because it didn't include women, and in some cases, they used unfair and racist ideas in their arguments. These different sources have some things in common, like wanting equality, but they also show very different perspectives, depending on the person's background and beliefs. So how do historians make a strong argument when there are so many points of view? They keep looking for more sources. The more voices and perspectives you include, the better your understanding will be. Ask yourself, what voices do I already have? Which ones are missing? How can I find them? And how do they change the way I think about the topic? Now, let's watch some students use source squads to examine a letter from a freed person to their former enslaver. They'll use corroboration to help answer their research questions.
The first goal is, what conditions did the newly freed people face in the South immediately after the Civil War?
I was going to say that, since his colonel wrote to him, we know that, please come back, we need you, we rely on you too much to not have.
I think also at some point he mentions that the people say, oh, the colored people used to be slaves. So I feel like there's a lot of, judgment towards the people now that they're free.
Remember, no single source tells the whole story. That's why it's so important to look at many sources from different people and places. That's what makes history complicated, messy, and ultimately more interesting. Thanks for watching. If you want to get better at sourcing, contextualizing, close reading, and corroborating together, check out Source Squads using the link in the description below.